Hey, this is Dr. Andy with AG Thrive, and I am here to talk with you about how to grow the 2018 that you want, how we're going to make this the best year ever, why people often get stuck at the beginning of the year. They want to create resolutions. People get optimistic, they're excited, they really are kind of motivated to make this the best year and to get off on the right foot, and then really shortly they're already off track, and before they know it, months have gone by and they haven't made progress on the biggest goals that they had for themselves. So I'm here to give you the tools, the strategies on how to not let that happen and how to make sure you get traction on your biggest goals and really grow and create the year that you want, how to make this your best year ever, and how to make every year thereafter your best year ever. So one of the things that I'm really passionate about and I really want to do is to help my clients to stop living on autopilot and to really get clear on what their biggest hopes and dreams are, to help them understand that everything they want in life is available to them if you're just willing to put in the commitment, the work, the dedication, and kind of commit to a process of like a constant growth and improvement. I help people really to get and live intentionally, to really see, that they have a roadmap for success, a blueprint, so to speak, on how to really start to make traction and progress in the areas that matter most to them. For the AG Thrive kind of philosophy or principle, it's all about really kind of this path or this process of like constantly growing. My tagline, and I really believe this is authentic to my brand, what I do best and what my clients get out of an experience of working with me, is I help them to grow the life, the love, the family, the success that they want. And I do it through a really innovative and kind of unique 4 AG step process. I help people to get really clear on kind of awakening growth. So that's just a process of helping them to understand, why growth is so imperative to them, living and growing the year they want, and where they're stuck, the patterns, the beliefs, the relationships, the behaviors that are keeping them stuck, and then starting to create the strategies, the tools, the accountability, the support, and the structure to really start to make progress. The power of progress is amazing. Once you start to create some small victories and you start to see yourself making progress on things that maybe had been keeping you stuck for months or years even, it's amazing how that starts to create and inspire or improve confidence. You start to feel more hopeful, and you start to pile up enough of those small victories. It makes you start to think, well, if I can actually move forward on these things, where else in my life might I be able to really start to make progress? Where else might I start to be able to grow? And when that kind of really kicks in, it's amazing. There's a transformational process. You see your self-image start to transform in ways as you see yourself as the type of person that follows through on the goals and kind of the impact areas in your life that matter most to you. And that's what I'm all about. So that's kind of the awakening growth process. And then it moves into the attitude of growth. And that's when you're really starting to understand how important growth is. And you've incorporated some of the strategies and the tools that work best for you. And you're applying them with consistency. And you're really kind of internalizing this model of growth, this model of, hey, I get stuck. I don't need to stay there. I can quickly kind of find some strategies and tools that help me to work around that or find a course correction that allows me to start to move forward. Once you've got the attitude of growth, it's really kind of internalized. That's when we move into our abundant growth process and kind of stage of working together. And that's really where you're piling up not just small little victories, but you're making consistent, meaningful progress. You have a blueprint for success that's based off of the intrinsic values that matter most to you, that make you feel good about you because you're being true to your most kind of authentic self. So, in that abundant growth process, you're really starting to see like, wow, my biggest goals that maybe I had set for the end of the year, the 2018, this is where you're starting to realize, hey, this can all happen. I could really start to move forward and make these things a reality. And that is a really fun and exciting kind of process for me to see, to experience, and to participate or contribute to. And then that 4th stage is really kind of it's authentic growth. That's where you've really internalized your own blueprint you are consistently kind of living out your highest values and priorities. And, at that point, it's really, you've internalized the entire process in a way that your life has really become meaningful, it's become significant. You're certainly no longer living on autopilot, but you're living with purpose. You're living with intentionality. You are living the life you were created for. You're finding what your biggest kind of strengths or skill sets or attributes are, and you're using them and growing them in a way that you're living at your highest point of contribution. Whether that's at work, whether that's at home, whether that's in your most significant relationships, at church, wherever it might be, you're really finding that, hey, I am living the life I was meant to live, and that's nothing short of extraordinary and exceptional. I always say that part of my goal in working with any of my clients is to astonish my clients with extraordinary value, to do it in little ways and to do it in big ways, and to constantly look for ways where I can add more value to help my clients make more progress. And when I see people starting to really kind of get to that authentic growth stage, it really is incredibly satisfying for me. And some of the testimonials and the responses I've gotten from clients is just really awesome. So as we enter into a new year, into 2018, it's a great time to really start to kind of do some self-evaluation. I do a lot of reading, of research, and looking into what successful people do. What do people do that are at the top, 1 to 3% of their industry? What do people that have, the most satisfying family or, marriage, kind of relationships do? And really, I would say I'm obsessed with it, so much so that I spend almost all my free time reviewing, researching, and finding ways to add that research and how I can integrate it and implement it in my work, that has the highest value and kind of impact with my clients. So, I say that all to try and say that as we enter into the new year, I really think it's an awesome time to start to get clear on what type of year you want to have. And all successful people have some method of self-evaluation, of being able to understand what they're doing that's working and maybe what's not working so well and where they could improve, And so I would really encourage, anybody that's listening is to look at 2017 and just do a quick inventory, get out a piece of paper and celebrate the areas in which you can say, hey, you know what, I really crushed it here in 2017, or, I'm really proud of the way I made progress in these areas, or this is what I did well. But, likewise, take a moment to really look and say, here's where I could use some improvement. Here's some areas where I'd like to see, kind of some growth or some progress, going into the new year. And then I would say figure out what your biggest goals are. I think simplicity and really getting clear on maybe your 1 or 2 biggest goals or priorities is really important, that you're not trying to say, I want to be all things to all people. Trying to set 10 goals and then making progress on all of them simultaneously is really setting yourself up for disappointment and failure. So part of what I do with my clients is I help them to get just crystal clear on what their biggest priority is. What is the one goal they really want to reach? And how can we start to create kind of small but consistent steps to make progress on those goals? What is the one thing that they can do applied every day that's going to have the biggest impact? And what's the biggest obstacle that they would need to remove in order to start to really make progress on that? You start to ask yourself those types of questions and you find answers for that, you're going to notice that you're really starting to not only get clear or get clarity, but you're going to start to get some answers back, some solutions, some ideas that are going to be, I think, I think actually quite exciting. So as we enter into 2018, I want to really help you to explore and identify, exactly the year that you want to have. If I was talking to you and it was December 31st, 2018, what are the things that you want to say that you have accomplished, the things you have experienced, the relationships you've grown to feel like this year was amazing? It was extraordinary in every way that mattered most to me. I think that's a great question to start to ask and get clarity on. So to really kind of summarize and emphasize, kind of the points that I want to make here to help you grow the 2018 that you want and deserve, I really think it's absolutely imperative that you create a roadmap for success. And that roadmap is, going to require not only being super clear on what it is that you want, the goals that you want, but is making sure that those goals are connected or integrated with your highest values, your most significant priorities, the relationships that matter most to you, your strengths and principles. I've seen some statistics and research that talks about New Year's resolutions, which theoretically I'm a fan of, but within the first 2 weeks of setting a resolution, over 90+% of people have already abandoned the resolution that they set. And I know what that process is like. I know what it's like to feel stuck, to really have this hope, this kind of, inspiration of this year I'm really going to do it. I'm really going to, move forward on this thing. And then 2 weeks later, you've already lost that motivation. And there's a sense of like defeat and kind of discouragement that can settle in. So I want to give you the tools. I want to give you strategies that are going to make sure that that doesn't happen to you this year. So some of the things that I want to cover in future videos is I want to start to give you the keys to setting goals that are going to actually get you where you want. How to set SMART goals. How to create a WHOOP goal that in the science of goal setting is undeniably the most effective way to set goals. And I'll give you exactly how to set those and what to do to make sure that all of your top goals aren't just something that you create as an aspiration, but they become a reality. How important it is to work with an accountability partner, a coach, a mentor. You really need to have someone that has maybe reached the level of success that you want or has some of the qualities, and how to find that person, how to find who is the best accountability partner, who is the best type of coach for me to work with, and how do I ask the right questions to make sure that I find that great fit. How to celebrate, small victories, and then how to, create motivation by using pain points for your advantage. How to have all the neurohacks and biohacks. This is for you to have the best year ever, it's certainly going to require some work, right? You're going to have to be willing to really kind of tap into your resilience. But you don't necessarily have to do it the hard way in all of these. So that's why I've done, all the research. It's why I got a doctorate in psychology, is to really understand and to know how to create change, how to create transformational moments, how to ask the right questions to inspire, the right, kind of set of solutions and insight, to help you not only understand why you're getting stuck, but how to create the most efficient path possible to make sure that 2018 is, without a question, your best year ever. So I want to just say I appreciate, anybody that's been listening. I'm super optimistic that this is going to be a phenomenal year for AG Thrive. And if there's any way in which I can contribute to you having the best year ever in your relationships, at work, in your family, I encourage you to give me a call and we can start to have a powerful conversation and start to really explore and identify how to really move forward and how to create the most astounding 2018 that you can possibly have, how to live in your highest point of contribution, and how to really create happiness that's sustainable. So thanks again for listening, and I just want to remind everyone and encourage everyone to grow the 2018 that they want. So here's all the best, and helping you to achieve that and have just an incredible year.